right, all right, all right. It's been a week. Just saying, it's been a week. So let's start with what happened locally. We opened up a whole bunch of restaurants. I actually got to sit on a patio, have a Corona, had to have a Corona and a margarita, and then another Corona. And then we went and sat on another restaurant, got served by people. It was fantastic. Walked on a beach. It was great. It was like almost real life was back. Gyms are open. A lot of restaurants are open. Still support your local businesses, but yeah, we're kind of back to it. And then, yay, BC. We had some like 60,000 kids went back to school. That's cool. About a third of the population, apparently. Talked to somebody yesterday who said, nope, I'm liking homeschooling better. Daycare started open again. Gym started open again. All kinds of good things were happening. And then this guy actually got this guy speechless, just couldn't even talk for 21 seconds. By the way, if you have not seen the footage of Justin Trudeau, our prime minister, being asked what he thought of the activities that are going on down south, and the guy who holds the comparable office south of the border, and watch him sit there and think about what he's going to say for 21 seconds, it's kind of awesome. He even chews his lip at one point. I like it, and we're getting the same beard. Maybe if I could grow my hair in like Justin, we could be the same guy. I heard Carla Kafa at the reception desk. It was a weird week. Mass gatherings. And I think we've all been seeing the coverage locally. And I kind of want to, if I was American, I'd be going Gary Keller for president, because there are times when you are proud to be with an organization. I'm actually choking up. There's times when you're proud to be with an organization, and during any challenging time, when you've got leadership that steps the hell up and says the right things, it really makes life a whole lot more palpable. So if you have not seen the email from Gary Keller, I'm not going to read it. It's small print on purpose. Give it a read, because it definitely lets us know that we are in the right place at the right time in a shitty time in human history. All right. And in case you forgot, we still got this thing going on. So all those, if you were at a mass gathering, if you were taking your right to protest, gathering with the thousands of people who are downtown by the art gallery, go get tested just for shits and giggles, just for fun. Yeah, Corona's still happening. There's a great quote from Mark Wahlberg going, "Are we still doing the Corona thing? Is that over? Is that done? Is that done? We've moved on." Anyway, it was a weird week. And don't forget the murder hornets. They're still coming. South of the border. They're as north as Langley. They're in Langley. So if I was going to look at 2020 so far, it's a disgruntled child. It's refusing to participate. It's just refusing to answer anything. And every time you think you've got it settled down and it's going to sit down and eat its vegetables, no, it does something bizarre. So hashtag enough already 2020. We're done with you. And 2021, are we there yet? Because let's go. I think we just reset the calendar as of today into 2021. Forget that it's still 2020 and see what happens. Let's just move forward, shall we? One thing remains consistent in all the crap, because I sat there watching, landmarks that I visited tear themselves apart yesterday. Call for just causes, but and you just sit there going, wow, we are spiraling into a downward thing of crap. And I went, you know what? We need something. So we'll always have puppies. There's puppies. Wherever you go, internet, just Google puppies. Whenever you're feeling overwhelmed by all the crapulence that's going on, or worried about the market or what's happening with you, with expenses and whether things are going to bounce back, puppies. Just focus on puppies. They're cute. Keep calm and sell real estate. That's the other thing that you can control. That's the other thing that we're focusing on. And we are starting to see the turn. So despite everything else, and this may sound harsh, they are all distractions. Even Corona, it's distraction. So there's always going to be something that's going to have potential to take us out of the game. And that's where we sit. So and it's up to you on how you respond. The one thing you can control is what you're going to do in your market, with your database, with your business, right? And we're going to do everything we can to help you move from the couch to commission. Netflix is over. Netflix is done. There is no next season of Tiger King. And I'm pretty sure they're scrambling to have a replacement. But if you wanted like the old people like me who has cable TV, there is nothing on, literally nothing on. So you might as well go pick up the phone and talk to your database, right? Good idea. Here's some numbers for you. So the real estate boards just released numbers yesterday. I'm not quoting our average sale price or total units sold, things like that. If you guys all have access to that information, so look up those numbers. The one thing we're going to talk about is listings taken. So on the listing taken side, Fraser Valley Real Estate Board, 506 listings taken this year, in April, 856, which is up considerably from previous month. Last year, when we do the comparison, 1,410. So that's a gap of 712 listings. You're probably picking up what I'm putting down right now. A gap of 2,177 listings for all of the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver. In our office, a gap of 54 listings from year to year. So our gap actually isn't that big. When you look at the opportunity within the market, you've got a bunch of revenue, because I know you're all probably muted, but would you agree that the people who wanted to buy and sell real estate are still out there? They didn't disappear. They didn't fade away into nothing. They didn't, get on a cruise ship and sail endlessly around the Pacific. So that revenue is still sitting there for whoever wants to grab it. And that gap equates to Fraser Valley, over $8 million, and in Vancouver, over $35 million of lost commission. Straight extrapolation. The average sale price, as per the report that just came out, times the gap, times the average commission of 1.6%, calculated at 1.6%, 11,994. If your commission is not that high, then you should charge more. We're talking a lot of money that's sitting on the table. People will be able to take that revenue back. They're going to come back. We're going to ramp up fast. So how you prepare yourself for this market is going to be critical, right? We showed this a couple of weeks in a row. 1/3 will thrive, 1/3 will survive. I'm getting rid of the dive. We're not going to dive. Everybody in our office is going to thrive, at least survive. No one's going to work for Corona. And it's up to you to avoid the Corona effect. One of the things you can do, make sure that you're playing with Command and get your database in. We're starting to pay attention a lot more to these numbers because Command, if you haven't, get in there. I'm going to stop begging. We're just going to start dragging you, kicking and screaming to the best database management program on the planet for real estate. So it's time. So you need to get in there, enter your contacts, play with designs, start a campaign, create a smart plan, build out your referral network. We ran a contest. Congrats, Aaron. Woohoo! Got $125. I think it's $125 for entering contacts. So that's all good. You've got a ton of tools and systems at your disposal. Leverage them. Now's the time to really plug into the KW culture and really start using the tools and systems we've got. We're going to create ways to make it fun. Bobblehead Ron likes to have fun. So we just launched KW Elite Realty Bingo. We found out some people have never played bingo before. And by the way, good for you. If you've never played bingo, good for you, because it's bingo. It's weird. Anyway, so we're giving away some great prizes. Complete a line. We are going to draw from Ron's big box of fun. So we've got a bunch of prizes in there, everything from staff discounts, bottles, there's some bottles in there, and a few random prizes. When you get a whole blackout card, we are going to give you a membership or a registration for Mega Camp, which is digital this year. If you've never physically been to Mega Camp, it's phenomenal education, phenomenal networking, and we're assuming it's going to be just as good in the digital side with less touchy and feely, and you can get a sandwich whenever you want, right? So that launched on June 1. There are some activities on there like get a haircut or dye or trim your own hair. I don't know if anybody on the call has dyed their own hair. Anyway, anyone's dyed their own hair. Those obviously go back, because if you're doing that stuff now, what's wrong with you? We have people who do that now professionally. So, it's like, don't do that. Don't cut your own hair anymore, unless you're me, and do it all day long. So those go back to March 17th. So check off the stuff. You will notice there's things in every line that you have to do something business related in. When you get a bingo, message me and we'll draw a prize for you. All right. Send me an email, actually, so we've got a track of it just for fun. Or post it on social media. Let me know I got bingo. And you got to let me know what it was. I need proof. I need a picture of it. So check your inbox for the bingo card. Bold Pivot is coming back. It is coming back on July 14th. We had over 41,000 people in Bold this year globally. It was really, really cool. The content was insane. If you attended, if you're one of the 120 people we had attend, making that number up, I think it was 120. The content is available online until the 20th of June. So make sure you download all your information and have access to the videos. Go back and just watch that over and over again. Really, really cool content. If you didn't attend, I highly recommend you do. And, someone out there is going, well, you got to push it. No, this was really freaking cool. There's great information on there and great guest speakers. So, so good. It's coming back July 14th with new speakers and new content. So it's literally changing every single time. It's a good side effect of what we're going through. All right. Spring Masterminds coming up next week, Monday, Tuesday. I've personally never attended Masterminds. I know Terry and Naomi have. It's usually a kind of an upper echelon fancy weekend at a really, really expensive spa, and it's outrageously expensive to go to. This year, because it's digital and online, it's 2 hours on Monday, it's 2 hours on Tuesday, and it's $49. So Monday is going to be keynote speakers. Tuesday is actually masterminding, so they're going to break us into groups. Register. I believe registration ends today. They may extend, but they were talking about it ending today. So get in there and register because they have to create groups around it, right? Really cool opportunity to attend something that is normally pretty expensive to go to. Of course, there's not a spa. You can spa yourself. I don't know how you do that. And then, last but not least, coming up next Wednesday. Don't write down the times because we're going to try and shorten this to an hour. We've got some logistics that we got to get through. But we are doing our awards banquet virtually. So we're going casual. Put on your best cabin fever. Put on your best Jimmy Buffett persona. Put on your tacky tourist shirt. Pour a boat drink. Put an umbrella and a slice of pineapple in it. Let's have a beverage together. I was going to talk to Terry before this, but I think if you're actually online and you have your drink, I think we should buy you a drink. I think we should give you a credit towards your. I mean, nothing top shelf, just bottom shelf stuff. But we should.
When you do this, you set me up to fail no matter what, right?
You're just such a giver. I thought you were on mute. Damn it!
I'm being voluntold.
We'll talk about that. Well, I'll get back to you.
I think you said Wednesday, isn't it Thursday?
It's Thursday. Did I say Wednesday?
Yeah, I think so.
There you go. Thursday. The time may shift. Block out between just plan on having some quality time with fun people between 3 and 6. We're going to try and shorten that up as much as possible. We might start it at 4 o'clock. We've got some logistics. So we're going to do some prizes. We're going to give away the awards, recognize your success last year, and have some fun. So the more the merrier. Please dial in. All right, cool. So the big guy says, how will we show up to be the best version of ourselves? How are you going to come out of this? At the end of the story, when we say, so during COVID, I did this, sitting around having a beverage around the table in a group of more than 50 people. How will you describe your COVID story? How will you describe what you did in this business? And if you're not happy with the story right now, change it. Totally in your wheelhouse to do. Go find the motivated. Go find the opportunity. Apparently, there's millions of dollars sitting on the table out there, just waiting to be picked up for those who are taking listings. If you're not taking listings right now, you need to adjust your business plan. That's as serious as Ron gets. You need to adjust your business plan so that you are taking listings. It's starting to ramp up. Don't miss out. Go forth and do business. And now, Michael, you there? Mr. Tremaine?
Just had to unmute myself.
There you go. Beautiful.
How are you today?
Fantastic. I'll stop presenting so everybody can see you.
Yeah, and you made a comment about, I think, the Tiger King. You heard that Carol Baskin has been awarded his Tiger Preserve.
She's now the Tiger Queen.
She's now the Tiger Queen.
Yeah.
Onward. Here we go. I'm sure everyone got an email yesterday. I don't know if they got it from the Vancouver board as well, but council's decided that we have to take another new course coming up. Ethics for real estate professionals. So now added to that whole fray, if your license expires up till September 30th, you need legal update. the rule changes, agency and disclosure, and that money laundering course that came out in January. If you register for that money laundering course before the end of the month, you'll get it for half price. After that, it goes up to $100. Another thing with these new courses, they are upping the ante. They're getting more and more costly. And there's nothing that we in the industry can do but just pay. October 1st onward, you'll need legal update. You'll need the anti-money laundering course, as well as the ethics for real estate professionals. And that one costs $175. So the fees are changing for those things. But like I say, I mean, if they decide that we need to be better educated, and I'm not against that, I guess they're going to keep hitting us with probably 1 or 2 courses every year going forward. Everyone knows about I hope about the email that some people got from Korea, or they thought it was from Korea, trying to trick people to click on a link. So be very, very careful with everything that you receive in email or by text message, that you don't put your computers at risk by clicking on something that looks official, but isn't. A couple of things I've experienced in the last couple of weeks, dealing with some of the calls that have come in. Please read your contracts thoroughly when you're representing your sellers, especially in reference to the other agent just changing a word. I mean, we had one where the offer came in subject to the sale, and but they changed one word, which says upon receiving notice, they have 48 hours to remove this subject from the contract. So what it did in essence was they actually didn't remove their subject when they were served notice, but had they removed it, we were stuck with the existing subjects in the offer that were still there, and potentially the other agent had accepted the other offer thinking that we were okay to go within 3 days type of thing. So it could have put the seller at risk. So you've really, really got to be careful that you're reading every single word, even though it quite often looks redundant. It's kind of the same as what we always see. But if they just change a word or two here and there, you can put yourself at peril. Had a lot of questions in the last few weeks, or even in the last month, in regards to the property condition disclosure statement. One where the buyer's agent, not ours, it was the other company, he was trying to insist, being that this PCDS was not filled out, it was just signed, it was crossed through, and he was trying to insist upon our agent that the seller had to fill it out. In my opinion, the property condition disclosure statement, as I said before, was just brought into being to put some responsibility on the sellers to disclose what they know about the property. And it's an incredibly weak document because, as you see when you read it, all the questions are you aware? So, I mean, not really a strong document. The reason we started crossing out the PCDS and signing it for rental properties or estate sales or things like that was because the banks were requiring a property condition disclosure statement, even if it wasn't filled out, in order to fund the mortgage. So they were willing, I thought it was totally ridiculous, but they were willing to accept the document all crossed out and signed by the seller in order to fund the mortgage. And that's where that came from. I know in some cases we find that there's errors in these documents. I don't believe in amending them. I believe this document is a snapshot in time, the day it was signed. And I think if it's wrong or something's in error, then do a new one or get the other agent to do a new one. Another thing I found with this document, they do their home inspection and they find something that wasn't right that maybe contradicts the answer in the disclosure statement. But I mean, a lot of times they weren't aware. Deal with these issues in the contract. Don't worry about dealing with them with the disclosure statement. Another one, I guess I've read some comments, I think, on the KW Facebook page. Don't rely on BC assessment information to be correct. A lot of times you'll find that the information on their sites was taken the day that the appraiser put that information into the system. So it could have been 1970. So lot sizes, maybe even dwelling sizes. I mean, take the time to actually go out and try to verify, sources of information through the cities and municipalities, and maybe sellers have documentation, survey certificates, things like that as well that you can use. Obviously, measurements, you can do them yourself, or you can hire a lot of firms today who'll do it for you. So don't rely on anything that you read in print as being absolute. Back to you, Ron.
Oh, that's it. Cool.
Unless there's any questions.
So questions on the new course? Anybody? Anyone?
Yes, I have a question.
There you go. Terry's already signed up, taken the course twice.
No, but I've signed up.
I've signed up as well.
Show off.
Josh had a question.
Says the girl who raised her hand right away saying I signed up.
Hey, don't make me come over there.
Yeah, you're at your house. Michael, do those courses, like Legal Update, has to be taken not every year, but every cycle, 2-year cycle?
Mm-hmm.
Is there, and one of the other courses, I believe it was the money laundering course, I was under the impression if you took it once, you would not need to continually take it year after year. Is that changed, or is that the case still?
That is the case. I mean, they are bringing new courses into the fray, and during your license cycle, and they've actually lined it out where you fall into your license cycle, what would be required, but all these courses only need to be taken once.
It would be like Legal Update, of course. I mean, the content changes every year, not just every 2 years. It's one of those courses, if you took it every year, instead of not needing to, you'd gain a ton of insight, which would be valuable.
Yeah, these courses I'm talking about are what are minimum requirements. There's nothing wrong with you
right.
self-educating on a greater extent, I mean, to better your knowledge.
Yeah, agreed. I feel like our offices, if we stacked up against other companies, I feel like our company, our agents in KW lead the way in terms of perhaps even having more points or hours than they actually need. I think we're education driven in this company. I made that up.
Wow, off the cuff. Fantastic. I like it.
Thanks.
All right.
Wait, Josh made something up? Let's put on our surprised faces.
Yeah, well, there you go. Is that your surprise face, Jerry?
Oh, there it is.
Nice president. All right, cool. Josh has smart people to talk to for us.
I do, but first I'd just like to comment at how well groomed your nostrils are, Ron. Because I'm looking right up.
I've got the uplook going. Yeah.
Right up them. Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah,
the mustache is great. The nostrils are clear.
I thought there'd be a buffer, but yeah.
Person's got to breathe. So we have today, Krista and VJ, if you guys would go ahead and unmute yourself. Ron, Terry, Naomi, and myself thought it would be great to talk to a couple of agents within our system within our company that have been listing actively and selling actively homes for the past 3 months, and have them share what their journey has been like from the beginning till about now. I'll ask you guys both the question. Krista, you can go ahead and lead. Hi, VJ.
Hi.
Maybe. Good. Okay. Krista, can you hear me too as well?
Oh, I can hear you now. Did you say that I could go ahead?
Krista, there's a big black hole behind you.
I know.
Don't get sucked into it.
Sucked in. Don't worry. I'm going to stay here. So yeah, it's been interesting. I think that there was when the pandemic really hit and everything was escalating and all of the new procedures were coming out and the restrictions, there was sort of that 3-week period where kind of everyone just kind of settled down and stayed put, and there wasn't much going on. Like even with my real estate business, I kind of just worked everything from home and online and phone conversations and social media for about 3 weeks. And then it was like, okay, people need to buy and sell, like give your head a shake and get back in the game, right? So that's what happened, like reaching out to clients, like staying active on social media and just becoming educated on how you're going to move forward and safely and effectively work with clients to sell their property. And so like what I saw was that the biggest things that kept coming up with people wanting to sell their property are, well, what is the market doing? And if you had a crystal ball, where do you see the market going? So is timing right to sell? And then how are you going to handle selling my home? Like, what does that look like overall in terms of having people enter my property, like being safe as possible? And how are you going to sell my property without that sort of, as we knew before, doing like letting agents into homes, like having a free for all for showing sort of thing, like with or without the listing agent being there, and then no open houses. So, and even just like, the last couple of weeks, I'm sure many of you see it's really taken a turn. It feels like we're really back into the spring market and everyone's gotten used to following those procedures and effectively working with the public and other realtors to sell properties.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. I agree. BJ, what are you seeing? What's it been like for you? What's your journey been like from the beginning till now?
Yeah, I think like Krista said, I think at the initial onslaught of this, there was a few weeks where it was dead. I'm always on social media. I'm always, touching my people, if you know what I mean. But, there's a few people that really needed to sell and they had a deadline, and I went ahead and listed their places. Obviously, took the precautions, made sure that we're not overlapping any showings. I told the sellers, I said, listen, I want everyone out of the house. I want all the lights turned on. We want to minimize the other people having to touch anything. If anyone has to touch it, we ask the agent, you open any doors that need to be open if they're not already open. And it's been pretty smooth, to be honest. And I feel like only the serious buyers are actually out there. They're, all the looky-loos are sitting in fear. So, so the people that are actually coming and viewing are really interested in buying, and had a few multiple offer situations due to that. I think the key is to price the property correctly right at the beginning, and the buyers are there. I see the demand, and I don't feel like it's stopping. What I have told my sellers is that, due to the lack of inventory, if you want to get out on the high side of this market, you should do it now, because I think once the government money stops flowing, and people who find that they're out of jobs, all these small businesses that shut down, that's when these people are going to have to sell, and the market may adjust at that time. May or may not. I never give them a guarantee, but I said, logically, if these guys don't have jobs, they don't have any more government money coming out, they're running out of savings, they're going to have to sell, and that's when maybe we'll see a correction in prices, if we do at all.
Yeah, possibly things could get a little more competitive. Did you guys notice in the beginning of the pandemic, there was almost a frenetic sense of urgency around getting the right clause into a contract, or creating one that didn't exist, or, setting a protocol where if you were going to have your listing shown that the other realtor and their buyers were filling out forms. Do you guys use any forms like that? Are you noticing other agents are strict about having those forms filled out or signed, or is it kind of like, where are you at with that? What's your experience? Krista, you go for that.
I would say that probably 90% of properties that I'm showing with buyers, the agent is requiring some sort of acknowledgement to do with you or your clients haven't been out of the country for 14 days, haven't traveled, you don't have symptoms of feeling ill, that sort of thing. You'll acknowledge that you won't touch, and gloves and masks, that sort of thing. So there definitely is that sort of acknowledgement, and it's either just verbal, or there is that document that's being required. So there is a little bit more paperwork, like just to show a property, right? And then for the selling side, I do have my sellers acknowledge that they are opening up their home to people coming into it. And then I'm there all the showings. So in terms of, I do the screening and then I make sure everyone has gloves and masks on. Some show up without it, and so fine, you keep your hands in your pocket. But that COVID-19 showing protocol, I have that sent to all potential buyers and their agents before they enter my clients' homes.
Okay, good policy. VJ, what are your thoughts on that? What's your experience been around this?
I've had a lot of people asking to sign the form. Myself, when I send the touch base confirmation, I'll just put a cut and paste that I've got. Please ensure your clients have not been, like, all those criteria in there. But I haven't physically making them sign the actual form. Maybe I should have been. But I just kind of put that cut and paste into my reply on my touch base. I personally found it kind of a pain in the butt to do it for every single showing. But I do see the value in it. But as an agent standpoint, I kind of, it's like every single showing you got to get your guys to sign this form off for all the people, and it's a bit tedious. I think there's probably a better way to do it.
I think you bring up an interesting point. In out there might be a very strict policy of, unless you fill the form out, you're not coming into my listing. And then there's another side that's, I'm going to trust that you're doing your own diligence and that you're actually taking the safe precautions, and you're not coming out looking at properties while you're sick. And it's really interesting to see two perspectives at play. And some are on the extreme end of the forms being filled out and initialed by everybody, and it's really quite interesting. What about gloves and masks or hand sanitizer? Are you noticing that's still a major play in showings and listings right now?
Yes, I've seen it. I mean, I ask my buyers to bring them, and then I have extra, right? And then I ask any list of buyers' agents and their clients to be prepared to have them. And then some homeowners will leave like extra out just in case, just given their scenario, right? If they're really wanting that extra level of protection. I have had buyers show up without anything. So, okay, they come in, it's just always a touchless showing, right? And keep your hands in the pocket. And then I wipe down every single thing after. So homeowners always leave lights on, closet doors open, and then I wipe down any exterior doors that I touch. And then all the closets I wipe down after too, and any handles.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, I keep
just curious. Have you? Go ahead, VJ.
I keep my kit on me: Lysol, wipes, gloves, masks. So when people are coming, I provide them to them. And it's been not much of a problem. Only thing I find frustrating is, like, you got these single-use masks. So I got a party of 5 buyers coming, and they want to go into like 4 or 5 houses, and then it's like $1 per mask. So I'm thinking about getting the guys that I know I'm taking on tours, like buyers with families. I'm gonna probably get the cloth ones for them, and be like, keep on using this, right? Because it's getting kind of expensive.
Yeah. It is creating an interesting, shining a light on an interesting aspect of what's going on with these single-use masks and single-use gloves, and then the waste, the footprint on that alone. And I understand the bigger picture of COVID-19, but you'd be remiss in not saying that we're really adding to the waste system by dealing with it. So something that can be used more frequently than that would be a smart. Are you guys noticed any of your sellers being demanding about proper protocols, or are your sellers rather relaxed about it now, or has it changed from the beginning to now?
My sellers have been pretty understanding, and they trust me enough to know that, I'm not going to, let anything like that happen. But yeah, for the most part, I think the sellers that are scared about that stuff, they're not listing their places.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
And I think too that sellers, they just want to know that you have a procedure in place. And that's something, even before your listing presentation, that you better know exactly what your procedure is for doing presentations and letting people into the seller's home.
Yeah. For sure. So there is that aspect of it. And then VJ, you bring up an interesting point too. So you've got these two worlds where they would want to know you've got a protocol, like Krista says, and then VJ, like same thing. They just want to know that you're safe. But what if you get a seller that genuinely believes it's more scamdemic rather than pandemic, and they could care less about protocol, and they don't care that you have this gloves. In fact, they might even insist that you don't bother with that stuff. How do you deal with that? How would you deal with it? Because I know this probably hasn't happened yet.
Well, I have a client like that. And so just regardless, though, I still think about sort of how I want to be always viewed that I'm doing the right thing and acting in the most professional manner. So they may have their sort of ethics and how they're handling the situation, but I always want to be the professional and sort of set the standard.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, and it's unlikely they're not going to not hire you because you choose to be professional.
Right.
Yeah, fair enough. There was a came in from one of our realtors yesterday that I had spoken with, where another realtor was on the extreme far side of protocol, right down to the perspective of not only are you going to sign off on not being sick or being around anyone that might have had symptoms, but you're going to show up with your gloves, your hand sanitizer, and your mask. And one additional element was, you're also going to email me. This is the listing agent speaking to the buyer's agent. You're also going to email me a copy of your buyer's full bank approval, written approval. And I've never come across that in my entire time as a realtor. Have either of you seen that out there? Have you ever requested that of a buyer's agent? What are your thoughts around that?
Well, for me, I don't particularly request it. I think that's a privacy issue as well. I mean, it's nice to see something to say that they're approved, but maybe ask for that once they're about to write an offer or something like that. So I'm not too heavy-handed on that side. I do ask before they book a showing. In some cases, I say, go drive by the house, make sure they're okay with the location, everything like that, before we book your showing, because we just don't want people unnecessarily coming and going through the house if, for some reason they don't like the location or something about that property. And so I try to, get them to go outside the property before they book the showing and have a drive by the yard and see everything like that.
I did see that one time in Realtor Remarks where they were asking for a copy of the buyer's pre-approval letter.
Yeah.
And I guess that is just to sort of weed out sort of anyone who can't afford the property or isn't prepared to make an offer once they view it.
Yeah. Good point. I guess everybody's doing the best they can for the client. It would seem as though it's a bit of a overshot on my part, but who am I to say? I would ask the question right now. You guys were both on Bold Pivot recently, and that was no, Krista, you're not. No, okay. There's a new one coming up, Krista.
Yeah.
Talk to Rod. It's definitely well worth the price of admission. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that. VJ, with your experience going through Bold Pivot, and you have been through Bold in person, so you've had the experience of either or. What was your thoughts around Bold Pivot? What did you learn from it, and what would be a great takeaway?
For me, doubling up on the contacts, I've been touching a lot more people through that two-way messaging conversation. I've gotten some leads just by coming from contribution. So for me, the big one was, I used to always hate to ask for the business after, every script was like, ask for the business. So the big thing I liked is when they said, do not ask for the business. Just come out of contribution. Tell people, you care about them, want to make sure they're okay. And it's made my conversations a lot easier and a lot better because I don't have that anxiety in me that, oh shit, now I got to say, would you like to buy or sell? You know what I mean? I like that part. I like the one part where they had a list of 100 different people that like different occupations, businesses. So now I'm digging into that one. I'm going to create a, referral network and then, reach out to small business and say, hey, how can I help you? Right? I know you've been going through a hard time with all this, and I like that. So I thought it was good, and it was cheap, right? Instead of paying the full $1,000, I got all the same info. And then a lot of us guys at the Surrey office sat in the room together. So we got those great conversations out of it. So that was really good too.
Wonderful. So Ron brought up a really powerful slide, and I want to touch on that, where he showed the gap between what once was and what currently is still waiting to be done. There's a ton of business, a ton of sellers that have held back from being on the market. VJ, you mentioned that we might be on the high side of pricing right now, and it could very well go in a different direction for a lot of very plausible reasons. Krista, I'm sure you see the same thing as well too, where I don't know what's causing real estate to defy gravity, but we're all systems go. Are you noticing with this pace right now that we're in, are you noticing that the market or the pricing is trending upwards, downwards, or just staying straight, the same? What are your guys' experience on that?
It depends on the product.
Thanks, Ron.
So I think, there's a lot of demand for certain products. I've noticed that sort of the entry level sort of condo first time home buyer, those for me aren't moving that quickly. And then I think probably to do with that sort of demographic, maybe you're not being employed right now. But that move sort of from like selling your townhouse or selling like a higher condo into getting into those entry level detached homes, that is definitely on fire right now. And prices, I mean, there's so many multiple offers right now. So prices, I'm definitely seeing that increase, even though I think the stats from last month show that Coquitlam detached home were down slightly. Being in the market, I'm definitely seeing those multiple offers and even cash offers now.
100%. Yeah, cash offers, right? They're out there now. It's fascinating.
I think the largest
With
decline
your
in the
guys'
last report was around 2% in apartments. So there's the graph for combined.
Yeah.
But so it's holding steady on pricing. And again, why we're going to harp on listings for, I don't know, ever, is because if you have listings in inventory right now, you're cashing checks. Just saying. Sales thing.
Well, and more to something else you said earlier, Ron, is that there is this massive amount of commission sitting out there that normally would have already been earned by agents at this point in a year. And COVID has suspended those sellers from being on the market, which means they didn't go away. They're sitting still. So there is truly an unequal opportunity for agents to go and tap into a commission that, for the most part would have been filtered out. But those that are going to show up with a plan and show up, whether it be on social media so others can see you, you're going to end up with a large portion of that commission that's sitting waiting to be doled out. It's a really powerful slide. I thought that was a good one.
To paraphrase Al Pacino, the listings are all around you, right? You just got to go find them. It's a definite opportunity. And the what we didn't factor into that slide was that when we went into this market prior to St. Patrick's Day, we were actually close to a 20% increase year over year for listings taken. Total volume was even higher, so it was actually ramping up. Really into that, so the opportunity is actually even bigger.
Just one last thought there, if I may. I know you want to take over. Lucky Gill had just mentioned that she had received, when she was going to show a property, the listing realtor sent her over one of the COVID forms to fill out via DocuSign. And I assume more just an attempt to make things more convenient to get it done, or perhaps just to ensure that it got done. Who knows, either or, but that is definitely an option you can go with as well too. You got any last parting words you'd like to share with what your plan is to ramp up and go get those listings like Ron was just mentioning? You look like you're looking underneath the couch or something, BJ.
My battery died. I had to go plug it in.
Plug in.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead, Krista.
Well, I would just say, just make sure you're an expert in the market and actually what's happening now, because that's what sellers are wanting information on. And then also, like, you think about how are we meeting new people now, new clients, right? Like, you have to leverage your database, you have to leverage social media, because like, even for myself, like, open houses were my thing, right? Like, that's where you meet all the neighbors and door knock, and then you do your open houses. So you have to really kind of expand your mind and look at how are you going to meet new people. And so listings are the perfect way to, you're taking a listing, you're going to have a sale, but you also have your sign sign out there and your phone number and your information on all the websites. So that's how you're going to get buyers as well. So it's kind of like, two birds with one stone, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Chris, I had a question based on your COVID plan. So did you find your consumer confidence went up when you sat down and said, here's how we're going to present your property?
Sorry, Ronnie, asking me?
Yeah.
The COVID plan was one part, but then the marketing plan was the other. So I upped my marketing in terms of, like, I think everyone knows I'm on social media all the time promoting properties and showcasing listings, but I upped the media that I'm using, right? So like 3D floor plan, video, drone footage, amazing photographs, and then like really short little clips just to keep my Instagram and their property top of mind. And so I just wanted, it's another tool to be able to say, this is part of my COVID plan and how I market your property, so that I am going to weed out just people not serious about your property. They're going to receive all this media so that they can preview it. And then if they're interested, then they're going to reach out to their agent and book that listing meeting. So it kind of went hand in hand, the media, like extensive use of media, plus your COVID showing protocol.
Interesting. Thanks. Cool. I guess I did.
VJ, you were going to say something there. Thanks, Krista. That was nice. Thank you. VJ, what were you going to say?
I think same thing, having the Matterport I've been using a lot, drone videos. I think just showing the clients that, hey, look, this is a way that the people can actually get a pretty good in-depth look at your property before even coming to book a showing. Other than that, just stay present, and people will come to you on their own, and reach out to them, come from contribution. Show people you care, and it will turn into business.
Yeah. Whatever. I would love to just personally thank both you, Krista and VJ, for being being our guests of honor. You guys rocked it. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Awesome.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Actually, VJ and Krista, I have one last question. How many times have you reached out to your database? Like, if I'm on your database, how many times have I heard from you in the last 3 months?
I would say it's once a month, maybe once a week, like depending on the relationship, because I connect mainly a lot through social media with my clients. So I'm like always, commenting and firing them little things, and we kind of banter back and forth. So it's frequently. So Ron, if you're my client, we'll probably talk every week if you're on social media.
Okay. Is it a blend of social media, text, phone call? You're running a campaign around that?
There's no particular campaign. It is just sort of like very consistent communication, right? And depending on who the client is, they're going to get a phone call. Like if they're not on social media and they're an older client, they're going to get a phone call just checking in, that kind of thing. Or, hey, I just listed a house a couple streets down from you. That sort of conversation. But the majority of my clients, they are on social media. And so there is that whole other level of relationship where you don't have to pick up the phone, don't have to fire a text. It's actually like you're interacting with them very frequently through like Instagram or Facebook.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think for me the same. I'm still haven't systematically hit everyone in my database because it's just so huge. But I see who's engaging in my videos, then I make sure I message them because I know they're watching, have a little convo with them. And then, I'm slowly but surely getting through all of them. But it's supposed to be quarterly, but it probably isn't. But one of my habits is I look at whose birthdays it is and personally phone call them every morning. It's just my set gig, or leave them a Facebook message. So that's kind of one way of, getting them for sure.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
It's just,
right on, VJ.
It's duplicatable, right? And it's manageable, which is awesome. Right. Any other questions? Parting comments from the field? Terry, Josh, Michael?
There was a thank you from Leslie to Krista and VJ.
She's so nice.
She really is nice.
Okay.
I like it. All right. On that note, thank you all for coming to play, and have an amazingly positive week. And we'll talk to you next Wednesday, and then Thursday we're gonna do our award show. So
right on.
Try and talk as fast as possible. All right.
Okay. Bye
All
for
right.
now. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.